photo by Kevin C. Cox, Getty ImagesIn 2017, Tennessee football could never get a rhythm going at wide receiver. Of course, the Vols really got nothing going for them on offense after their season-opening win against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. But the receivers never really took off. There were key injuries, like Jauan Jennings missing almost the entire season with a wrist injury. Then there was Butch Jones's ridiculous system of rotating receivers in and out as much as possible. Guys like Marquez Callaway and Brandon Johnson stepped up at different times on the year, but hardly anybody else did. Meanwhile, the tight end position was as inconsistent as ever outside of Ethan Wolf. And Wolf is now gone. As a result, Tennessee football has a ton of work to do. They've been using this spring to find competitors who can step up in the passing game. With Jeremy Pruitt and Tyson Helton bringing the pro style back to Knoxville, everything's fair game. Position changes have heavily affected this position, and with two key players not slated to join the team until the summer, there's even more work to do now. With the quarterback position still up in the air, the receiver position will naturally be a question. After last year, though, it's still hard to figure out which unit was more responsible for the ineffective passing game. I'm still relying on the worst offensive play calling in the history of the school. But hey, that staff is gone now. So we're back to square one. Let's take a look at the major things to focus on in the passing game during spring practice. These are the 4 current keys for the Tennessee football wide receivers and tight ends under Jeremy Pruitt. Page 2 photo by Michael Reeves, Getty Images 4. Who runs the best routes? If you know anything about Jeff Brom's and Bobby Petrino's systems, you know that vertical route running is key. Getting separation is one of the most important things, and that's going to be huge for Tennessee football with Tyson Helton, a disciple of that system, calling the shots. This offensive system relies on route running for everything, even running plays. Although it's a pro style, they will use zone reads on run plays that depend on the receivers being able to draw away the defensive backs. Over the past couple of years, Butch Jones's system relied on receivers being able to catch jump balls in the deep passing game. To be fair, that wasn't a bad idea with guys like Josh Malone and Jauan Jennings. But Malone is no longer on Rocky Top, and Jennings won't rejoin the team until the fall. Marquez Callaway is great at that as well, so he needs to demonstrate more of his route running this spring. Brandon Johnson and Josh Palmer, meanwhile, have shown more route running abilities but not great hands, at least yet. With so many other guys switching around positions and also trying to get healthy, and with the quarterback race, the coaches aren't going to learn much anyway this spring. So what's key for these guys is just to work on their route running if they're going to make an impact. Tennessee football's offense figures to look more crisp next year than it ever did. That's what Helton's pro style is about. But this is key to that happening. Page 3 photo by Kevin C. Cox, Getty Images 3. Speed over height for receiver. Staywen Taylor is the best receiver Tyson Helton coached in college. He now plays for the Tennessee Titans. Taylor was with him while he was offensive coordinator of the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and had nearly 1,500 receiving yards in just 1 year. That's incredible. Want to know Taylor's listed college size? It was 5 feet 11 inches. I would say it's speed over size altogether, but given Jeremy Pruitt's influence coming from the Alabama Crimson Tide and the collection of players Helton has had the choice to coach, we don't know for sure if that's the case. We do know, however, that Tennessee football does not need to get the big 6 feet 4 inches guys that can leap over everybody to make big plays. Now, don't get me wrong. That's still a valuable asset. So Marquez Callaway and Jauan Jennings can still be useful. But this post plays off our last one. They now have to perfect their route running and show more speed. If you look at what Helton did with Western Kentucky, he often sent his speedy guys on wheel routes and tried to get them into one-on-one matchups. That was very common, in fact, in red zone situations. Look for something similar to happen on Rocky Top. Remember, Nick Saban has shown he doesn't overvalue height either. As a result, Tennessee football will mainly be looking for guys who can run crisp routes and also outrun the secondary. These things are key. Callaway has shown what he can do in open space, and Jennings has definitely outrun defenders. So they still have the skills to do it. But Callaway has to show it this spring. And this puts more work on Johnson, Palmer and Latrell Williams, who will get lots of looks in the slot now. More on him later. Page 4 photo by Elsa, Getty Images 2. Blocking is key more than ever for tight ends. So we know that Jeremy Pruitt is going to prefer big tight ends who can block, hence the reason he keeps talking about the need to run multiple sets. He wants Tennessee football to be physical in the image of Nick Saban. Want to know something? That's also key for Tyson Hilton's system. Since he uses the receivers to deceive the offense, he needs the tight ends to be able to handle blocking responsibilities more than most. With Ethan Wolf and Jakob Johnson gone, that opens the position completely for everybody vying to get a starting spot. This is already evident with some position changes, which include trying out Jauan Blakely, a former linebacker, at the position. Early enrollee Jacob Warren wants to make an impact here as well. But come summer, the biggest impact player could be Dominic Wood-Anderson. He's a 4-star junior college transfer that Pruitt got in a recruiting battle with Nick Saban. That's huge, and he's going to get numerous looks. So it's key for Blakely, Warren, James Brown and Eli Wolf to all demonstrate what they can do this spring. And they all need to show off their blocking prowess if they are going to be key tight ends for Tennessee football in the future. They can still be valuable receivers, don't get me wrong. But for them, it's about being able to stay on the line. They'll need to clear paths in the running game more than anybody. And they might need to pick up a cheating up safety or corner. Page 5 photo by Kevin C. Cox, Getty Images 1. Who steps up in the slot? Given the emphasis that Tyson Hilton is going to place on route running and speed over height, Tennessee football needs to find a slot guy fast. After trying Tyler Bird at defensive back, this makes his switch back to offense huge. On top of that, the Vols have Latrell Williams, a guy who redshirted in 2016 and couldn't stay healthy in 2017. Both of these players could have a larger role in the slot with Josh Smith gone. It's a reasonable thing to believe that Tennessee football got nothing going in the slot under Butch Jones because his practice style kept them from being healthy, and his coaching style never let them get into a rhythm. Now, though, the Vols are a bit depleted in this area. Jauan Jennings, Brandon Johnson, Josh Palmer and Marquez Callaway are all primarily wideouts. Meanwhile, Alontae Taylor has flipped over to defensive back as well, so it's unlikely that Bird and Taylor will both play receiver this fall when you look at Pruitt's experimentation. As a result, Tennessee football needs Bird or Taylor to emerge there and for Williams to step up. They need to do it for themselves as well. But, again, Hilton likes to get speed advantages on the outside. Part of that is misdirection and lining up his slot guys at wideout. So if nobody steps up this spring, Tennessee football is in trouble overall. The Vols only had 1 year of consistency at wide receiver, 2016, and it was their best year. Every other time, Butch Jones refused to let players get him rhythm. That primarily hurt slot guys. Now, with a new staff, the slot players have much higher expectations. Some of them need to emerge for Tennessee football's passing game to get where it is. And the quarterbacks need it in their battle as much as anybody.